Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been fraught with difficulties. After 8 months of fighting, Russian forces have been forced out of half the territory they conquered in the spring, putting Moscow on the defensive in a war of their own creation. The conflict has exposed deep flaws in the Russian armed forces, which lack modern equipment and advanced technology. This raises the question, what happened to Russia's wonder weapons? In the years leading up to the war, Putin's government announced several revolutionary new weapons systems, from human-piloted combat walkers to robotic tanks. Yet, 8 months into the conflict, hardly any of these have seen combat. So, let's dive into the world of Russian military vaporware. One of the most anticipated wonder weapons was the T14 Armada main battle tank. Introduced in 2015, the Armata was designed to be a clean-sheet tank that would break with the old lineage of Russian tanks, which all trace their origins back to the T-72. The T-14 featured a 125mm gun, Afghanit active protection system, and even nuclear shells. Russia's rearmament program, GPV 2020, aimed to build 2,000 Armata tanks by 2020. In August 2021, Russian state media announced that 20 Armata tanks would be delivered by the end of the year. However, the new tank reportedly ended up being more expensive than originally believed, with many of its components, including LCD displays for the crew, imported and their sourcing crippled by sanctions imposed by the West over the 2015 invasion of Crimea. While Russia has rushed 60-year-old T-62 tanks to the front line, the Armata is still a no-show, suggesting that even if the ground forces really do have 20 tanks, they are not combat-ready. Another wonder weapon that gained a lot of attention was the Igorek combat walker mecha. Developed by Kalashnikov, a Russian arms maker named after the designer of the AK-47, Mikhail T. Kalashnikov, the gold-painted combat walker made its debut at the Army 2018 Weapons Expo, held every 2 years just outside Moscow. However, it has not been seen or heard from in more than 4 years. Combat walkers as a concept are flawed, and the locomotion capability would likely need years of development to be practical on the battlefield. It's likely that the entire system was a publicity stunt meant to make people think differently about the Kalashnikov brand, which is mostly associated with Russia, guerrilla movements worldwide, and street gangs. The Oran 9 robotic combat vehicle was another wonder weapon that Russia developed to challenge the West in the development of robotic combat systems. The tracked robot, about the size of a small truck, boasted a 30mm gun, anti-tank missiles, and a 7.62mm machine gun. Oran 9 was intended to be operated by a single Russian soldier from behind friendly lines, wrecking enemy tanks costing many times more. In 2018, Oran 9 was deployed alongside Russian forces in Syria, where the robotank struggled to maintain a wireless connection to its human controllers. There have been 0 sightings of Oran 9 in Ukraine since the war began, a curious absence considering Russia is facing acute manpower problems, and a working robotic combat vehicle would help alleviate them. Oran 9's absence from the war suggests technical problems were even worse than originally reported. The Sukhoi Su-57, also known as the Felon, is Russia's first 5th-generation fighter designed to replace Soviet-era fighters. Equipped with advanced features such as powerful radar, long-range air-to-air missiles, stealth capabilities, and supersonic cruising capabilities, it directly challenges the American F-22 Raptor. The Su-57 was first introduced in 2010, and though hundreds were planned, The Russian aerospace forces are believed to have only between 6 and 15 Su-57s due to a lack of funding for development, partly due to India's withdrawal from a joint program. The Su-57 has not been seen in Ukrainian airspace. In 2018, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the development of 5 new nuclear delivery systems, including the Kinsel air-launched hypersonic weapon. Launched from a modified MiG-31 Foxhound fighter jet, Kinsel is capable of delivering both conventional and nuclear payloads at speeds exceeding Mach 5, posing a significant threat to NATO ground targets and aircraft carriers. However, despite being the only one of Putin's new weapons to see combat in Ukraine, its impact was minimal, and it was initially unclear whether it had been used at all. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin did not consider its use a game-changer. Although sources later confirmed that Kinsel's deployment in Ukraine was a warning to NATO, its lack of effect on the war made it a relatively ineffective one. Thank you for watching this video.